You are Black in the Green Room with me, your host, Keith Underwood, and this is your spot for real talk about entertainment with entertainers, creatives, and showbiz professionals. My guest today is known for his work in the Spike Lee films Get on the Bus, Brooklyn, and Clockers. He's also known for his award-winning role as Dr. Preston Burke on Grey's Anatomy, and he is currently one of the stars of the fifth installment of the God's Not Dead film series, God's Not Dead and God We Trust. Welcome to the room, actor and film producer, Isaiah Washington.
Yeah, man, that's fantastic. I thought I was being eulogized there for a second.
Oh no, man. We got to keep you alive, brother. You got too much work to do. How you doing
Oh,
today?
man, I'm good. I can't complain. I'm super excited. I mean, many people have important movies coming out this year, and I always have been very fortunate and very discerning in what I say yes to over the years.
Mm,
So I would say I would be in different places, different spaces if I said yes
right.
more often. But I learned from early in my career, yeah, uh, I have a wife, I have kids, and yeah, the money is good, but the thing about movies, they tend to outlive you, right?
Right.
Um, so it's not the only person that was able to just do what he wanted and become unscathed. That looked like me was Denzel, right?
That's
And then
right.
before
Right.
that, Billy D. Williams, and then before that, you know, Sidney Poitier, right?
Yes.
So I realized early on that okay, no harm, no foul. But no, thank you. I'll wait for something where I could just go to work
Yes.
and come home, and I don't have to give up anything else.
That's right. That's right. Well, man,
you know,
speaking of
yeah.
legacy, your name, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Isaiah
Mm-hmm,
Washington. That's a very powerful name. And you're the
mm-hmm.
fourth Isaiah Washington.
Oh, look at you! Yeah, yeah. I'm a
Yes.
fourth generation. Yes,
Yeah.
my father was actually the third. We figured that out on my birth certificate. Negro in Texas. That the problem, growing up in the South is everybody live and die by their nicknames.
Mm, hmm.
Trey, Junior, Bubba.
Right.
So my father was always known as they would call him uh, for whatever reasons. Trey or whatever his nickname or something or Bubba, and they never realized that's coming from the fact that he was a third. So I
Right.
assumed on my birth certificate I was being named after him, and he was named after his father. But what we didn't understand that my father's father was also named Isaiah Washington, which obviously made him for this bloodline Isaiah Washington Senior, and then my grandfather was a junior, which they never referred to him as junior. They always referred to my father as junior or Bubba or whatever, or Trey. They just kept calling him different, whatever they wanted to call him. But technically, he's Isaiah Washington the third, and then I took the name, no middle initial. That makes me the fourth. My son is named Isaiah Washington, but he has a middle name. So technically, he would be the fifth generation Isaiah Washington in his family bloodline. But I wanted to break that up because I thought being Isaiah Washington the fifth was just way too English for me.
Oh, what are
Yeah.
we gonna call them? Cinco? Is that the nickname?
We just broke it up, and he goes by Ikeen Olu, because I
Oh, I
figured
love that.
I already knew that I was gonna be probably a different kind of person by the time he was in his 20s. I already knew that I probably wouldn't be uh, uh, considered a good Negro in
Mm,
Hollywood. So if he
hmm.
wanted to go by Ikeen Olu, then my name would not close doors to him.
Yes.
But he told me, he said, Dad, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of my name. I'm gonna go as he's studying us to be an actor, and he says, I'm gonna go as Isaiah Washington. They want to call me the fifth, so be it. But I'm proud of your work. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of your stance. So I'm gonna keep your name going.
I
So
love that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
What does the legacy of that name mean to you?
But it's really interesting you asked me that question, Keith, because unfortunately, um, I'm old enough now. I'm assuming you're old enough to remember Beverly Hillbillies and Good Times, right?
Yes.
The show.
Yes.
And unfortunately, my stepfather wasn't my biological father wasn't a great father for a number of reasons, but I don't want to get into that, the weeds of that. But anyway, he was very abusive to my mother, biological mother, and she
Hmm.
warned him that if he didn't change his ways, that there was some woman who was not going to take it from him.
Mm.
And that woman in Texas, when you live with a woman, that what the term is it's called what's the term? It's like your wife
Common law.
without common law. Yes.
Yes.
So you get the rights of his. So if he dies, you get whatever assets he may have, property, or even Social Security. So when she defended herself and murdered him on one of his
Mm.
attacks, I found about it on Marvin Zindler in Houston, Texas, Channel 13 News,
Hmm.
and I was a child, so
Yes.
heard, Isaiah Washington murdered on Lucky Street, which is in Acres Home, like where I grew up, and he grew up. I'm like, whoa! And it was never forget it. It was December of 1976. I was 13, and I remember my stepfather coming out from the bedroom, and apparently he already knew, but my body just went numb.
Mm.
And at that time, I subconsciously and consciously watching it just came out right after I was watching a rerun of the Good Times or however it was on. I don't know, 5 o'clock before. I don't know how it was. It's a long time ago, but I always envisioned myself being like John Amos or meeting John Amos. So he was like
Mm.
the father figure,
Hmm.
him and Ken Norton, the boxer. Those are
Right.
prototypes of the man and the masculinity that I wanted to be because I didn't have that in my stepfather. He's very good at business, but he just wasn't a very physically, healthy guy. Being in
Yes.
Vietnam, he overweight, played basketball every weekend, but he wasn't a nice person. So he wasn't my ideal. It was always John Amos. So when I saw that, I remember saying to myself, if I ever hear the name Isaiah Washington again in my life,
Hmm.
it would be as a famous football player. I'm going to make something out of my name. I'm going to make people respect that name. I'm going to never hear anything negative on television with my father's name. Now, the irony is,
Mm.
I get to the height of my career, and because of my stance and self defense of myself on my job, things are taken out of context. And the worst name in Hollywood became Isaiah Washington. It's just
Mm.
on
Yeah.
television. It's just the if you really, a guy has a very strange sense of humor.
Right.
It's like I got everything I wanted by making a good name for myself.
Hmm.
And then, but yet I'm watching myself on television, hearing all this craziness, and I'm going, "That's not true. That's what are you?" It's like I've been murdered like my father,
Yeah.
but only to realize that there is importance in the name, but it's also the frequency and the context of the name.
Mm.
And for lack of better reasons, it's the name Washington, which ironically or historically, on my father's side, we reigned from Richmond, Virginia. Well, we know
Mm.
who lived in Richmond, Virginia, who had
Absolutely.
slaves.
That's right.
And I've done my DNA to prove that connection. And then we all know who Isaiah was and how he suffered this preaching the gospel of the love of God.
Yes.
And it's the only prophet who has 66 chapters. So he must have been a pretty important guy
Absolutely.
to get more chapters in the Old Testament than any other prophet, right?
Right.
So I had to put myself and laugh at myself and say, okay, there is importance to a name, right?
Yes.
There is Martin Luther King, Denmark Vesey, Malcolm Little became Malik Shabazz, or Malcolm X. It's like Nelson Mandela. There's something to a name still. right?
Mm-hmm.
And and it goes and it's in transitions, and none of those guys were considered likable or heroes during their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
People forget a lot of Negroes did not like Martin Luther King, right?
Right, right, right,
They thought he was a troublemaker in his
right.
lifetime, right? So I sit here and say to myself, well, there it is. Isaiah
Mm-hmm.
Washington, it is. It's perfect.
That's right. That's right.
You put them both together, you're asking for it, bro.
Right. I love that.
Sorry, I didn't want to go on a tangent there, but that's one of the stories that I just thought was interesting to tell.
Yeah,
Based
no,
on that
no,
voice.
no, it was absolutely perfect. And thank you, for sharing that, here in the room. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Speaking of God and faith, what did you know about the series God's Not Dead, the books by Rice Brooks, but your film In God We Trust is based on before becoming involved in the project?
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't even know, Keith, that it was a book.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay, that's very honest of
well,
you.
they'll just let you just know just how much I didn't know about this wonderful endeavor.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say the guy's name, but through faith, through God, I found out about David A.R. White and the God's Not Dead franchise via social media
Hmm.
when it was Twitter or X, right?
Right.
And this gentleman, apparently, as I discovered, for whatever reasons, a Christian, could not get the attention of David A.R. White, and he fancies himself as a producer and actor, and would show me some of the projects that he was in as an actor, and we were, at the time being in this conservative space after our post-Trump White House
Mm.
supporting the First Step Act policy. I just got thrown into the fray. Um,
Right, right.
And then when I get all this attention, I'm like, Jesus Christ, well, I might as well lean into it and become a Republican, left the Green Party.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
let me lean into this and see if there are any abolitionists on this side. And
Right, right, right.
I found a lot of them, and I considered David A.R. Wright, producers Michael Scott, men of faith, and abolitionists. That's how I
Hmm.
see them, and they allowed me to come in, and I was found through Kelly Knox. Uh, the rest, the next thing I know, I was getting made an offer, gave me a great deal. Next thing I know, I was saying yes simply because at the time, um, because of COVID, uh, and I'm proud to say my daughter is going off to further her education in London at one of the most prestigious universities in the world, if not in London for sure. I'm not going to say that university, but only 6% uh, acceptance rate.
Hmm.
And she
It's
made the cut
wonderful.
through our curriculum for the last 4 years that we've been working on. My wife and I created this pod, which has been homeschooling, and have some wonderful students over the last 4 years, great teachers. And it's very difficult here in the state of California to pull that off. People thought we were
Hmm.
crazy. They thought we were
Right.
crazy. Like, you're not. You're going to leave Waldorf, stay in a program in Waldorf schools, and you're going to step, blah, blah, blah. Well, we are Waldorf. We know the Rudolph Steiner. My wife studied this. We're here because we have to develop the person before you develop the mind. It's not just about
Mm.
academia. So, with the 14 years of being in inculcated with those principles. My wife says we're not going to vaccinate our kids and pay for it in private
Hmm.
school. We're not doing that. So she jumped out there on faith, and we've graduated some students, some very bright students that have, scholarships and things, and just like any other normal school.
Hmm.
And in that time, when I heard that God's Not Dead, We the People were pushing for parents' rights to homeschool,
Mm.
that just felt like manna from heaven for me. So taking that role and being political, and I've always been political and active. My work has been my way to speak to the people. This is what's on my mind. This is what I would like
Mm.
to see change. This is a society ill that I want to address. I've always politicized my choices because I wanted to have something to say
Hmm.
as an artist, right? Not just
Right.
an actor looking to get paid and be rich and famous. And I just thought that was just, like I said, manna from heaven, because I'm like, wow, okay. I get to play the highest part of my intellect. I'm not harming anyone. I'm not selling drugs. I'm not, which I've gotten away from that anyway. But this is a really smart character, really smart role, really smart premise.
Hmm.
Actually, saying something, right? It's timely.
Right.
And it was just perfect, Keith. I couldn't say no. It's like I always pick things by the time I get to the page 10 and I connect with it, I've already said yes before I finish the script,
Hmm.
because I had a political agenda, I had a personal agenda that it fed all of those things, and I was paid very well, and I was treated very well. So all of the things that I've asked God for all came in one opportunity.
Hmm.
And I was prepared for it, obviously, because I was invited back for the next installment, right? So that's how faith looks to me, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's how God works to me. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
you know.
You mentioned your character, Representative Daryl Smith, a little bit. What
Mhm.
what would a conversation between Isaiah Washington and Representative Daryl Smith, what would that look like?
Oh, Keith, you're good. That's
Thank you. I appreciate that.
that is a well thought, awesome question. I don't know how much time. Let me come up. Let me catch it up. Let me dust it off here. You woke me up. Okay. What would that conversation look like if I were having a conversation with Congressman Darrell Smith, if he were a real person? That's a really good question, because I would say thank you.
Mm, why, thank you.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your integrity. Thank you for your intellect. Thank you for your faith. Thank you for your drive. Thank you for your humanity. I would just say multiple things of thank you. And then I probably would ask him, are you sure you're real and you're not an angel?
What makes you say
You
that
know,
about Daryl Smith, the man?
he just seems so incredibly fair
Mm,
in a time of unfairness, incredibly assured in a time of uncertainty. And to have an opportunity with Tommy Blaze, I don't know what other people think about Tommy. But I know, well, don't bring it up. But it's not about the past, or it's about realities. And good is good.
mm,
And there was a person that I worked very, very well with, and she, no matter how many writers wrote for my character at the time, she insisted, which brought a lot of tension to a lot of levels in our scenario back then. She would only put the words in my mouth. No one else could do that, because she
mm,
felt that I understood the frequency, the intent, and how to convey what she wanted to say through that character. And that person was named Shonda Rhimes.
hmm.
And we saw what happened with that character.
Yes.
We don't have to worry about a number of things, but when we're all dead and gone, that character is still iconic, right?
Yes.
And that because of the truth and humanity and the intellect that I feel the way uh, uh, Tommy Blaze wrote my character, although I enjoy all of the characters in the movies and the franchise, it was very challenging.
Mm,
I make it look easy. Tommy worked me, man. I haven't
hmm.
been. And people say, "Oh, you comparing Dr. Brooks to Daryl Smith?" Like, absolutely, they're both not me.
Hmm.
But to be able to convey the ideas of a writer, their intent, their sentiment, that's not who you are, and it resonates with people when they realize.
Mm-hmm.
I get a question like, if I had a conversation with Darren Smith, what would it be? Then that means Tommy and I and God, we did our jobs. We made an
Mm-hmm.
impact. And as an artist, that's my job. That's
Mm-hmm.
my job, is to make an impact. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
What's the biggest takeaway that you would want Black audiences to take from this film?
To see that I am the new season in this franchise. I'm a highly melanated man that's not from Africa. When you look at the franchise, you don't see too many of us there.
Hmm.
And I don't think that out of malice. It's just telling their stories.
Right.
But the fact that I'm there and that Congressman Darrell Smith is there in the role, that resonates with most conservatives. See, the thing about politics is in this country is this nothing. We've been conservative by nature.
Mm.
We've had to be. We've had to be efficient and conserve our energies, our words, our thoughts, our movement, because we didn't have freedom of speech and movement
Hmm.
for a very long time on American soil. So we had to learn how to communicate with each other. We don't have to like each other, but at least work together. And we did it very well, and still was attacked for it. And we continue to see, I believe, politically liberals and liberal-minded people tend to just enjoy burning things down, whereas conservatives are just too busy building.
Mm.
We love building, and I believe that the embodiment of my image in this role is going to not only wake up, but make it okay, just like I made it okay for Black doctors to be respected
Mm.
and not surgeons to be respected and not walk into a room after saving some white person's life and they say, "Who are you? Get me my doctor."
Mm. Hmm.
As opposed to going, "Oh, you're a doctor?
Mm. Hmm.
You're the one that did the open heart surgery? You're the one that saved my life?" And that's how I look at Congressman Darrell Smith, is that they'll go, we have some very powerful, um, beautiful Black men that are ready to step up and be leaders. And we've
Hmm.
always been here. We haven't gone away just because the media says that one thing or hip hop says another. Darrell Smith is very much in America,
Mm.
very much. And I want to wake that up. And I want those guys to know and be comforted that you're not corny. You're not a cool. You're not a sellout. You're not weird. You're not a zealot. You are a decent human being that are working for rightful behavior and to hold your own, no different than Booker T. Washington, who they spoke ill of when he was alive.
Hmm.
You notice that all of the things that has the biggest sustainability that's created by a Black man or woman are being talked so much crap on. Was never even like E.D. Nixon, who I played. I didn't know who E.D. Nixon was until I did this movie and was a person behind the movement. I was
Hmm.
appalled that E.D. Nixon was a pool reporter who actually handpicked Martin Luther King, who didn't want to lead the civil rights movement. I was like, are you kidding me? And then they said, well, no one liked him. He was very outspoken. Well, that's me. I guess I go ahead and play it. I guess that's just society. It's like, if you're the biggest mouth and you're Black, then hey man, then that's me. I'll play the role. Let's
Right.
go. I'll do it. But thank God, hopefully that Darrell Smith will become yet another iconoclastic role, simply because he should be odd or different. But
Hmm.
if enough people see it, they will go, you know what? I want to be like him.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Yes.
want to run for Congress. I want to, run for president. And actually, sorry, Barack Obama, but you're not foundational Black American. I'm sorry, good brother,
Mm.
but you're not an American Negro. And I think it's time. And I'm working hard, and I convinced David is that, well, David, we got 5 more moves to do. Okay, you're gonna become congressman. Then I gotta stop. I got to run for senator.
Hmm.
I got to win my senator. That's another movie. Then we're going to be attacked for Christian nationalism. And then you're going to run for president. Then I'm going to run for vice president. Then you're going to be assassinated. And then I'm going to become the president of the United States. And then that'll be the last movie of the franchise.
It's great to be a man with visions.
He said, I said that on a podcast. And he says, I love that idea, but you're just going to kill me off my own franchise? I said, yeah, and you're gonna love it by movie 10. You're gonna be a very rich man. Just stick with me, kid. Stick with me.
Yes.
And he said, you know what? I love the idea because I didn't know how we could keep going. I said,
Well,
well, now that I'm here, now that Congressman Darrell Smith, let's watch him become a senator.
hmm.
Let's watch you become a senator. Let's watch us both become political leaders. Rightful behavior, right? Men of
Hmm.
faith.
Yes.
And it's entertaining. Look, Keith, it's not like these people weren't perfect, but I'm not talking about something that black people weren't in the 1920s.
Hmm.
Look who we were in the 1920s, man. We spoke it. We spoke. Uh, uh, hold on, the dead language. Latin.
Hmm.
We spoke it well. Highly educated people, innovators, creators. We need to go back to that. And I can't think of a better medium. I became my activism became an actor because you can change more hearts and minds in this medium than you can anywhere else. I've done it.
Yeah. What is your
Mhm.
position on being able to do all of those things regardless of party?
Well, that's the thing about being an artist. We don't say what the political affiliation is in this movie. Not one
Hmm.
time. We don't do that. And matter of fact, when I was playing a doctor, we never brought up race
Right.
between the Asian woman. We didn't run from it. Okay, we was clear
Hmm.
who he was. I mean, I ain't terribly my mother. Can't get any blacker than that,
Hmm.
right? And I handpicked her along with Richard Roundtree. So I got
Right.
Julia and Shaft because
Right.
I grew up knowing the people who don't know who Julia and Shaft were and how important they were and the time it was important in the 60s and the 70s. Well, maybe one day it'll all make sense. So if Julia and Shaft had a child, it would be Dr. Burke. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel that if Dr. Burke had a brother, it'll be Darrell Smith, or a cousin,
Mm-hmm.
it would be Darrell Smith. We're in the same frequency of excellence, black excellence, right? That's my job. I'm going to be a black man. I don't run from it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's who I'm going to be, like it or not, until the day I make my transition, right?
Mm.
So I might want to try to be the best black man for the world or play the best characters that are black men for the world to last longer than me
Mm-hmm.
so people can have an option or have a barometer of I could be that. And, oh, I could do that. Because I will tell you,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be on this call with you if it were not for me uh, at the lowest point of my life, not wanting to be an aerospace engineer. I, got on my first wife, had, was suffering from depression at the age 23, and a friend took me to go see She's Gotta Have It.
Mm.
Spike Lee's first film
Right.
in 1986, Keith.
Yes.
And I came out that film and I said, oh my God, those people in black and white, they're beautiful.
Mm.
And I don't know who they are. They're just beautiful black people. I want to do that. I
Mm.
said, I want to be that. And here I am. My first four films, I ended up working with Spike because I claimed it. I
Mm.
said, in 10 years, by 1996, I'll be at Howard University, I'll have my master's, and I'll be working on my first film with Spike Lee. By 1996, I was working on my fourth film with Spike Lee.
Mm.
So as far as I'm through the grace of God, my blessing is I'm ahead of schedule, baby. No
Yes.
matter how anybody else look at it, I've already won. And I do everything in 10-year intervals. And I said from 1996, I said by 2006, I would be at the height of my goals, prove to the world that there's another option other than what Hollywood says is just Denzel Washington. God bless him.
Hmm.
But there's other men that could be leading men too, and character actors. And by 2006, 2007, I was done with that goal. I
Hmm.
had proved my point.
What
Now,
was your goal after that?
well, another 10 years, what's the next thing? How
Hmm.
can I outdo myself? Well, by 2017, I was done after 5 seasons playing technically a black Captain Kirk on a hit TV series, sci-fi that William Shatner loved, who is
Hmm.
Captain Kirk, and watched it religiously when I was there on the CW network and opened up the door for the Tay Diggs and other black people that CW didn't think would be interested in working on the network. It was mostly white. So I
Hmm.
trailblazed that. So you see more black people, blood faces, American, all American, more shows. You're welcome, Tay Diggs. Okay. Is that nobody, then black people were mad at the CW network because it used to be they took away WB and UPN and took all that money and made the CW network and gave us Dawson Creek. You didn't see
Hmm.
black people anymore. So a lot of people told me I'll turn the TV on, but I'm not going to watch it because I'm mad because it used
Hmm.
to be UPN. You took my Moesha away from me,
Right,
right?
right,
You,
right.
you see what I'm saying? So I understood the politics in that and knew that, okay, that I'm going to put myself because my talent uh, requires me to do so. And they're paying me well to do that. Now, I'm going to open this door. Well, it depends on other people. Or you got to support it because if you don't support it, then that door is going to close.
Hmm.
So for 5 seasons, by 2017, I had already completed my next 10 year of excellence by playing Chancellor Jaha,
Hmm.
the leader of the last survivors of the human race,
Hmm.
basically the president of the world in space. 100 years in the future, baby. Come on, you can't get any better
Hmm.
than
Right, right, right.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of humanity, what does your faith mean to you, and then how does it affect your advocacy and your duty to this world?
Man, my faith is strong coming through my Mindy moms and mothers and grandmothers. And I heard myself walking in the kitchen saying something. I had a thought and said, Lord have mercy. And I remember my grandmother out of nowhere be in the kitchen and I hear her mutter something. She said, Lord have mercy. And I don't know what she was thinking or what she was talking about, talking to herself or whatever, thinking out loud. And I heard myself muttering, Lord have mercy about something. I don't know, saying, Lord, I'm just laughing at myself because I feel like my ancestors and all of their faith is in me. Right? And I will tell you, Keith, this conversation is a miracle.
Mm,
I'm having a great time talking to you because
thank
you've
you.
asked me some
Same.
questions I had to sit up here, I'm not gonna lie to you. You hear the kind of thing, oh, what the thing, what the dog, okay. Oh, I'm not gonna answer. I had to put on my thinking cap. I'm like, okay. Now we're talking. Because
Right.
I got to come up with an answer that is authentic, and that's all I want is authenticity. And my faith is, my ask from God is that how can I continue to be authentic?
Hmm.
And I have to have faith that opportunities are gonna come up into that place. I'm getting ready to direct a movie now that's actually going to create a character that I've helped create that is entertaining ways, but she's gonna find justice and hunt down pedophiles, sex offenders,
Mm,
and seek their justice where the justice system seems to refuse to do so. Now, yeah, it's going to be controversial, but that's me. But it's the truth. It's like, why are these people that are harming so many people, particularly our children, are literally getting away with it?
mm,
What does
hmm.
justice look like? How long can we look away from human trafficking? And I really feel that as I move forward, this has all been through my faith and my ask is that God has been providing me one, not what I want, but what I need to be doing.
Mm,
My faith is strong because I see that God has given me not everything that I want, but man, I've been getting everything that I need.
hmm.
I mean, it's like, right, before I got the television, Do you know that I was able to be a great husband and great father 6 months out of the year and work 6 months out of the year? And I was unemployed, Keith, before I transitioned into television work. Um, I was unemployed for exactly 31 days,
Wow.
30 days. And on that 31st day, I got an offer for a movie for Warner Brothers or Universal Pictures for 13 years
Mm.
straight.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's a, to me,
Yeah.
oh, they were offers. I've never had an agent get me a single job.
Mm-hmm.
That's God, bro.
Yeah.
That's God moving other people. And I have faith in that, and I will continue to have a strong faith because I've seen God's work. So in God, I trust. So the movie is perfect for me
Mm-hmm. Yes.
because I've seen we call them blessings or miracles, or some people who don't believe coincidence.
Mm.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm like, no, bro, no. How dare I say my talent is good enough for me to not only have a wife of 28 years, but three children, now 25, 22, 19, have the resources to put them in private school, travel the world, multiple vacations, some twice a year, and not look at that as huge miracles
Mm.
because I think I'm talented.
Mm.
There's a lot of talented people out here. So something is happening, right?
Yes.
In addition to my talent, right? No man is a woman is an island, right?
That's right.
So to me, I don't question God. Too many people on the internet sit up here and want to know more. I don't want to know more, man.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what the Tower of Babel about? That's why we can't communicate. There's some things, just leave it alone and trust. I don't need the science. I don't want to trust the science all the time.
Mm.
Right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yes.
man, that's kind of been um, my whole life and career seems to put me exactly where I need to be. And it's really interesting because my wife is extremely spiritual, and it's she sees what's going to happen before me before it happens for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So hold on, we got some background also. Just about that.
So,
Yeah.
Isaiah, tell everyone where they can find God's Not Dead and God We Trust, or find out more information, ticket information.
Well, I think you go to the God's Not Dead .com and also to PureFlex. Apparently, for most Christians, the most Black Christians, you'll find a lot of good movies there, and I think it's the elephant in the room is when I talk to Epoch Times, I've been very good at breaking barriers,
Mm.
and for those, a lot of Black people think, we tend to watch everything, right? But our companion ethnic group, if they just see more than one Black person, then they think it's a Black movie. It's not something for them to watch.
Mm.
So hopefully, we can get past that at some point. Is that we're not the dominant society, but we do exist. And I get that, but that's how Hollywood goes. Well, you're not the dominant society, so we have to make more movies because it's more of them. I'm like, that business model is stupid. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
I
First of all,
agree.
let's just play decent human beings and characters. How about that? And the representation, if it's good, everybody will watch. And we can
Mm-hmm.
get past the identity thing, right?
Yes.
If it's good, like my wife and I, we still watch Cary Grant.
Right.
Matter of fact, my performance I was playing with kind of like, is this guy real or is he a figment of Reverend David's mind? And we had that conversation. It's like, is he really a congressman or is he a figment of Reverend Dave's imagination? And that's how
Mm.
I always played it. Is he real or is he memorized? Because
Yes.
right now it just seems like he's too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we've ever seen this guy before. And nothing against Tim Scott, but he's not Daryl Smith.
Right.
nothing against J.C. Watts, but we don't see J.C. Watts anymore in politics. Nothing against
Right.
Obama, but it's not Daryl Smith. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing against any black politician or male politician. They're not Daryl Smith.
Hmm.
And if I can make a chancellor that's 100 years in the future interesting and powerful, and I can make other doctors get more respect in their field, then I think and inspire people to become more doctors. Because I got to tell you, all walks of life, brother, I'm on Cameo, make decent money, say happy birthday just because of Dr. Burke or whatever. But I cannot tell you the pride in my heart and my soul and my spirit from people that said they're going to Tulane because they saw that on my T-shirt. So
Mm.
I've always known the power of television. Or hey, we're gonna float that guy, which is a term my character created in the sci-fi in
Hmm.
Comic Con. It's like, I look at Darren Smith being another iconic classic, no different than Shaft or Julia. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because the writing, and I got to give it up to Tommy Blaze, man. I didn't make this up. I couldn't improvise it. So I can't be the best at me if I don't have the proper words put in my mouth, you know?
Hmm.
So I can't go forward without the Tommy Blaze, right? And I always say it. He's an artist. He has something to say. And yes, he's a man of faith. And it's working. And yeah, I happen to be black.
Right, right, right. Well, Isaiah, where can everyone find you on social media just to keep up with you and what's happening with you in your world?
Oh yeah, I'm on what is now X at capital I, capital W at I Washington. Um, you're gonna see I'm highly political. I do think that we are in in in, in trouble, uh, not just politically but societally. And I think the timing of this movie, I think it's because people have gotten so away from their spiritual base.
Mm.
They've gotten so involved in their egos and their gaining of power. And that frequency is low because everyone's the greed and just thinking of themselves, or I do what I gotta do,
Mm.
kind of mentality that I can't. I often wish that we could release um, uh, God's Not Dead like right now. They release in September, and then it's releasing in October again, and it's releasing in November, December. I keep releasing it, releasing it. I suspect that it's probably, and always send to be with clockers and true crime. Sometimes a movie can be ahead of its time.
Mm.
People don't quite get it because they feel like they're being preached to, or they're being reminded of something so painful they just don't want to be entertained by that. But
Hmm.
I feel much like, art and commerce don't make good bed partners. But I feel that my performance is artistic enough, but commercial enough that this movie is going to make an impact where people don't are not going to run away from it, but run to it, particularly by word of mouth. And when they hear about what is being said in this movie, and know that I've sat on social media and we did some reshoot, basically what their concerns are
Mm.
and their fears are, Darren Smith is addressing those issues. And I've always been the kind of artist that wanted to connect with the people. So see something that's familiar, say something that is familiar to them, so they can sit there and go, "Oh my, he said That's a food place in Detroit." Oh my, how I know that kind of thing that I yearn for, to make it be on a 60-foot screen and then immediately get a kinship with total strangers
Mm.
around the
Hmm.
country, around the world, because it's familiar.
Yes.
And I think on my social media, the real Isaiah Washington. I'm not on Facebook as that's much anymore. Just not as fun.
Right.
And most of my fans were older than me, unfortunately. And I think a lot of them don't really communicate because many of them are in their 70s, late 70s, probably passed on.
Hmm.
I've been doing this for a long time, Keith. You know,
Yes.
And I had 50-year-olds fall in love with me when I was 30. Well, so either hopefully they're healthy in their 80s and just not interested in social media anymore. But I'm grateful for all of them, and I'm still hoping to be entertaining, but also be educational, and inspirational, still. And
Yes.
hopefully we'll continue to do that with my next movie called Cousins. Like I said, that we're dealing taking on this child trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
We can't talk, we cannot talk enough about it. It has to be challenged and stopped, much like chattel slavery. I
Yeah.
really believe that we have to get a handle on the appetite of whoever these beings are that are harming our children.
Mm.
It's got to stop.
Yes.
It's got to stop. So that's my next journey as a director, and I play a HSI investigator, special agent, and hopefully we're looking to turn that into a franchise as well. So we can give people, undergird them by entertainment, and undergird. I want to undergird people with the spirit and the inspiration to make change. And if you saw Shaft, you want to be like Shaft, great. You saw Joy, you want to be a nurse like Joy, great. You see me as Darryl Smith, want to be a congressman. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for our nation, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
just want the best for our people. I really do, because my life has been so blessed. It really
Yes.
has.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so
You
much for blessing me with your
know,
presence. And
yeah.
there is space for Isaiah Washington.
I love
Yes.
it. My mom,
Yes.
I'm almost that's a funny, so my mom says that all the time, but that's my wife. That's funny. It's like she said, I'm gonna make space and grace for you, Isaiah. I'm always making space and grace for you. So
Yes.
it's awesome. Thank you, I
Yes.
appreciate it. I've had a great time talking to you. We gotta do this again.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Everyone, please follow me on FB at Keith L. Underwood. And you can also follow me on IG at Mr. Keith L. Underwood. Until next time, this has been Black in the Green Room.